welcome, Bhumi. Thank you for being here.
Well, I'm very excited that you're in our country.
Yes.
You're visiting India. I think the last time we met was in Dubai. It's been 2 years, 3 years.
Exactly, 2 or 3 years. And you've gone from strength to strength in those 2 or 3 years. 2015 is when Dum Laga Ke Haisha released. We're
Yes.
5 years later sitting here. How would you summarize those 5 years?
It's been a lot of hard work, but I'm living my dream. This is exactly how I had envisioned my life when I was younger. The day I decided that I'm going to be an actor, this is exactly what I thought I would be doing. The kind of cinema that I'm associated with, the kind of characters that I'm doing, the kind of directors that I'm working with, the kind of love I've got over the last 5 years has me so overwhelmed. If I speak about Dum Laga Ke Haisha, it's such a bloody special film, right? Because it's my debut movie. I just didn't know how would life pan out.
Behind Bhumi Pednekar is a team of people
Oh, yes.
who keep Bhumi Pednekar
Oh,
going.
yes.
Describe what your team is. What comprises of an actress's
It's an
team?
entourage. It's an entourage of some fantastic brains that work towards building the person and the actor that I am. Because, when somebody invests in you, for example, 5 years ago when Aditya Chopra decided that, she's going to be the girl I'm going to launch with my new film, Dum Laga Ke Haisha, he kind of saw something in me and then he put up a team that kind of helped me build that brand value. And there's a lot that goes into it. All I can do is select the right films, select the films that I feel I want to be associated with, the kind of fit in my moral compass. But then apart from that, it's your PR, it's your management, it's the things that you endorse, the events that you go for, every tweet that you put out, every Instagram picture that you put out. There's so much that goes into it. So I have a digital team, I have my management, I have my PR.
So in Bhumi Pednekar's immediate work WhatsApp group, who is in that group?
My manager, my talent head, my PR head. There are 8 groups. Okay, it's not simple at all. There are times that I've put in incorrect information. I'm constantly confused about my groups because everything is like Bhumi's PR, Bhumi's styling. It's my stylist, my hair and makeup. There are about 10 people that I work with very closely every day. And they've taken me over. I'm like their little child because they constantly are just thinking about how to make her, how to just empower her more, how to create a bigger brand out of Bhumi.
Is it hard to sustain a life in Bollywood, in the Hindi film industry, when you're not acting? Like when you were a casting assistant, are people paid enough? Is there enough to sustain a livelihood on? Because what we see, and certainly like when I'm in London and I see people talking about this, is unless you're the face of something or unless you're like a director or a really high up person in an organization, the rest of the people, because there's so many people involved in this business, the pay isn't quite equal for everybody. The kind of rights aren't equal for everybody. Have you felt that?
See, the pay isn't equal, and I'm not going to defend the fraternity or the business, but I guess that's pretty much how it works everywhere. Right. My sister is a lawyer, and I know her journey. It takes you a certain amount of years to be where you are. But there's a lot of pay disparity.
Is that gender pay disparity?
100%. That's there for sure. And I mean, the world knows it. And that's just not in India. That's through the world. And that's just not with films. That's with any fraternity, any industry, any business. There's a huge gender gap that we all are trying to close in our own very ways. I'm trying to do it through my cinema. Somebody else is trying to do it through whatever they are doing. But it's not the easiest place to be because, if I speak specifically about acting, and because I have been a casting director, there are thousands of people that come into Bombay to be an actor. And it isn't easy. It isn't easy because there are only those many projects that are made every year. But because of OTT and because of digital, the work generation has become fourfolds. Right. So if I think of the situation today, it's a lot better as compared to 4 or 5 years ago.
How do you come to peace with the fact that it's not equal? Say, for example, you're doing a film like Pati Patni Urvo, right? Where Kartik Aaryan is the leading hero. I don't know who got paid more in that movie. I don't know those kind of details. But how do you come to terms with the fact that you're probably both putting in the
See, I'll tell you
what,
as a girl, what I'm paid and the way That comes really later. Over the last few years, the kind of roles that are being written for women have changed. This year itself, I'm doing a film called Durgavati that's completely built around me. I know that there will be a day when I will attract audiences only on my name, and that day I will demand the pay that I deserve, because there have been women, if you look at Kangana, you look at Deepika, they are doing exactly that. It's still not as much as a male superstar. But the gap is getting closer. And that's the only way to be. Just keep doing good films. I mean, I'm aware of the fact that I'm not getting what's rightfully enough for me. And that's why I'm working hard.
Also, I watched an interview recently where you said you feel like you've had a relatively problem-free journey because you're protected by an organization like YRF. Do you think the story would have been different if you didn't have like a company like that?
Maybe, because we all know about the fact that there are certain aspects and there are certain bits in Bollywood that aren't the cleanest, especially with what happened last year across the globe with the Me Too movement. There were such horrific stories that came out that I really sat back and thanked the organization that has protected me to this level. And not just YRF, even my family. The fact that I could go tell them that I want to be an actor and they supported me gave me a lot of security. And my heart goes out to these girls because they come from across India and across the world actually, and because Bollywood has there's a lot of negative connotation attached to it, unfortunately, because people feel it's this dirty
business,
but it isn't. It's a beautiful place to be.
Is there as well though, right?
But isn't that everywhere? I mean, you think of it. I mean, I know none of my friends are actors, but they have had similar incidents as well. It's power play, and power play is in our basic DNA because there is a basic notion socially that men are supreme. So this is not about Bollywood. This is about a general change in the mindset that needs to happen.
Earlier in this conversation, you said you're trying to change that notion through the roles that you play on screen. Is it hard to be that open in a place like this as well? To be so unapologetic?
No, Haroon, not really. The fact that my first film was a film like Dam Laga Ke Haisha empowered me a lot. People had already seen me. What could they criticize?
But so many actresses, even if they start off with a powerful role like that, eventually, somewhere down the line, succumb to the norm.
I think they succumbed to the norm because there weren't enough roles written for women earlier. See the kind of work all my colleagues are doing, be it Alia and Razi or be it or the work that Tapsi does or what I'm doing. There has been a change, right? I mean, it is amazing because today we have the opportunity to do it. 10 years ago, Dam Laga Ke Haisha wouldn't have been made. 10 years ago, a Sant Ki Aankh wouldn't have been made, or a Sonchiriya, or any of the films that I'm associated with. Maybe a Pati Patni, or of course, it's a remake. That's something.
But I don't think it did well because it was a remake. Because, the majority of young people who watched that film and enjoyed it hadn't even heard of the original.
Absolutely.
But there was a real commercial aspect to that film, which drew people.
But see, Pati Patni Aur Wo was a film that I really vibed with because it was super commercial. Yeah. Obviously, I had my own personal interest in doing it because I wanted a break. I wanted to look different.
You wanted to wear hair and makeup and dance and
because
look good.
Because that's the person I am.
Yeah.
I was like, I felt stagnated as an actor. And that's when I decided to do Pati Patni Aur Wo. Because I needed that break. I needed that breather. I have grown up watching Kareena Kapoor, Raveena Tandon, Karishma Kapoor. I've grown up watching Govinda songs.
Your girl Rani Mukherjee?
Rani Mukherjee.
I know you love Rani Mukherjee.
I love her. Kajol. Like, I've seen these women and I've always wanted to do that kind of cinema. And Pati Patni Aur Wo was kind of that balanced script that had some brains. It was a role that was strong. And, I was kind of breaking stereotypes in my own way because she wasn't a wife who was going to succumb in any way possible. Actually, both the women in the film are quite strong. And it was entertaining.
When a film like Pati Patni Aur Wo delivers those kind of numbers, do you sit back and think like, why am I exhausting my time putting on this hair, putting on this look for Sant Ki Aankh, for like roughing up for Sonchiriya, for like going through shooting training? Like, why am I wasting this time when all I need to do is dance and look good?
I've had my moments. I'm not gonna lie. obviously. But the thing is that when I have a pati patni or wo, I also have a bala and I also have a toiletic prem katha. And the fact that all my nominations this year, they are either for Sandkyak or Son Chirya, that kind of gives me peace. So the fact that I have to work extremely hard for a film and that might not perform the way I thought it would, but I've still gained a lot out of that movie. Like what Son Chirya did for me, the way it changed me as an actor, what Abhishek Chaubey did for my craft. No experience can give me that.
I wasn't a massive fan of the movie itself. Like
Sure.
for my taste, firstly, I didn't understand the language because
Yeah.
it's a dialect, and
Yeah.
like felt personally for me the tone was a little bit slower than films
Sure.
I like. But man, your performance held me to the screen.
Thank you.
But that film like did terrible numbers.
It did. It was off cinemas in 5 days. I've never had an experience like that. I've done 7 films.
Yeah.
6 have done tremendously well in their own capacity. Son Chirya was the only one that failed. And it was a huge heartbreak. It's like an ex-boyfriend I'll never get over. I keep saying that again and again because it's a film that's so special to me. And that film changed me as a person. It completely changed me as a person. You know what? See, that's the beauty of the cinema that I do. I was always a very aware person, but I lived in my little cocoon of Bombay, living with my parents, being comfortable, etc., etc. Oh yeah, there's poverty, there's illiteracy, there's a lot of gender discrimination, but I experienced all of this through my cinema.
But I feel like somewhere along the line of 2019, you became a scapegoat for people's issues. Like, you just became like this woman that everybody blamed everything on. Whether it was the ageism debate with Sandkyak or the brown facing with Bala, it just felt like, or the misogyny that people associated with certain scenes in Pati Patni or Vo. It was like, it just all came out on you.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
Haroon, where there's appreciation, there is going to be constructive criticism as well. I was very confident. It started off with Sandkyak, and I was very confident that once people watch the film, they'll understand that the film is a lot bigger than just an older actor doing it. We had senior actors that kind of came out and spoke about it, but their intent was not to kind of put me or Taapsee down. They were just passing a general comment, and I completely support them. There aren't enough roles written for women, and women in that age group, they are very little, and definitely this was a great opportunity for them, but it was my director's vision, and I'm going to do what he wants, and I am not going to let go of an opportunity like Sandkyak. It's an opportunity of a lifetime.
Also in Sandkyak, what was wonderful was the female bonding between you and Taapsee.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Isn't it so nice that you can do a film where there is not a single scene where these two women are bitching about each other?
Pitted against each other.
Or there's no
See,
conflict.
but that's what true womanhood is.
Why doesn't Bollywood understand that?
The narrative is changing. I feel even in the West, there was a certain revolution that happened in their cinema, and that's happening now. Yeah. And I think this is what true sisterhood is. I think every woman at some point in her life has experienced something common. You could be in London, you could be in India, you could be the richest person in the world, or somebody who is completely devoid of basic needs. But there are certain experiences that are very common, and that's where we connect. I think a woman can really empower a woman, and that's exactly what we tried doing with Sandkyak or with Dolly Kitty or wo Chamakte Sitare.
You and Konkana or you and Taapsee are not going to get the budget that like a Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara is going to get. You're not going to get the budget that even a male film with lesser known stars, like let's say Sonu Ki Tuki
Absolutely.
Sweetie, you're not going to get that budget.
Yeah.
Why? And how do we overcome that?
We overcome that when audiences become more open towards different content. If the audiences don't accept it, it's not a successful venture for the producer, and that's exactly what's happening, and that's why there's been a shift over the last 5 years. Where your hero does not have that machoism anymore.
Do you think Stardom has changed?
Absolutely. I think Stardom has become more relatable. Earlier, they were more unachievable. They were more, it was very unattainable. Today a star is somebody who people can relate to. Like, look at Ayushmann. what he has done, with the kind of films that he has done, he's always played a boy who could be a part of my group. And that's only because the audiences now want to watch stories that they've lived at some point. That's why when I did a Shubh Mangal Savdhan with Ayushman, even though it was a film that spoke about a sexual disorder, it was such a taboo. You can't really say sex and, I mean, erectile dysfunction. We were like, how the fuck is this going to happen? But
I
then
can even say it on radio.
Yeah, exactly. So, we need to, like, just as a society, India is still very orthodox. By the end of it, we need an audience that is strong enough to support different content, and that is happening. And again, really have to thank digital work for it, because the horizon has kind of increased. We've been exposed to a lot more content, a lot more material, and I really feel slowly and steadily things are changing.
You mentioned sexual themes, which were in Shubh Mangal Savdhan, but Lust Stories was a performance that got you lots of credibility.
Yes.
And it's weird because apart from Toilet Ek Prem Katha, it's probably your film that's been watched the most globally.
Absolutely.
Because of accessibility, because of Netflix.
Yes.
Were you like, what are my parents going to think when they watch Lust Stories? Like, this is the most awkward thing in the world. Like, oh my God, what's going on?
It was definitely awkward, because the first time I watched the film was with my mum.
Oh.
But she had read the script. And she was the one, she was like, you must do it. It's fantastic. It's Zoya. And, by the end of it, I'm an artist. Yeah. I can't, if it's done tastefully and if it's done for the right reasons, I don't want to limit myself to anything. A sex scene or a scene that I'm getting in, that I'm really intimate with an actor in, is the same as me scrubbing the floors.
When that happens in Hollywood, it's normal, right? Because the audience has normalized to those scenes maybe, or those themes in movies. When it's so abnormal for audiences here.
But Haroon, I didn't get, I was nervous when Last Stories released, because I was like, what? Tens and thousands of people are going to watch this. And I was scared, will there be like video clips of me? But none of that happened.
Like that happened to Radhika Apte, right? When she did Harsh.
And it was so sad.
Yeah.
But luckily none of that happened. And I think that didn't happen because the platform that Last Stories released on Netflix was just the right thing for it, because already you're catering to an audience that is slightly evolved.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think it would even get like a proper release, or because it would be highly censored. I'm very proud of the fact that my films are a part of a huge change. After a few years, I hope you and I are sitting here and there's another podcast and we can speak about the fact that how much our audience has changed, how much our films have changed. Today, having a full throttle sex scene in a fully commercial film is normal, and you are not looked down upon it. You're not given like a characterless certificate, because the idea of women being whitewashed needs to change. And that's exactly what's happening. You've never shown a woman with desires. You've never shown her with any ambition, with any want. I mean, she's just somebody who's been so submissive all her life. And that idea of a heroine has changed.
When you're in an industry where body image, body shape is so scrutinized, so criticized, it's actually disgusting the way some publications write about women and actually men get it as well these days, but the way people are slated for expressing themselves in what they wear or how they look, or whether they choose to lose weight or not lose weight. How do you sustain self-belief that what you're doing is right?
I don't think anybody can body shame me, Haroon. I've gone way past that. I'm trying to break every beauty standard that exists in India. Okay, I can proudly say today that I have changed the definition of a mainstream heroine in Bollywood. It's very disheartening that, there's such pressure not only on girls but even on men to be that perfect type, to fit into a very tight mold that the society has created. I have to give my parents a lot of credit, because they really gave us such self-belief and such self-confidence that even when I was 93 kgs, I thought I was the hottest. Nothing about my life changed. I was wearing the shortest clothes. I had a lot of cleavage. I didn't care.
Do you think Bollywood sells an unrealistic beauty standard to the men and women that watch it?
I think the social conditioning goes way beyond Bollywood. Bollywood has a very big part to play in it. I'm not going to deny that. But the social conditioning, even if you look at just generally the way people, like, they want a tall, fair bride. They want a man who who is strong and who's so macho and who's full of stupid ego, because that's the idea of a complete man. So there are these definitions that aren't necessarily generated by Bollywood.
But Bollywood
they're
feeds into
definitely, exactly, but they're definitely
perpetuated.
By Bollywood.
Whichever word it was. I don't know what
Propagated by Bollywood.
When you take such a big moral responsibility to, like you said, shatter the beauty norms that have been set by whoever, wherever, to change the roles or representation of women in the Hindi film industry, how much pressure is there on you?
Every film decision that I've taken is actually a fuck up in the most commercial sense. It is, nobody in their right senses, nobody's going to go tell me, oh, go play like a girl who's been
a damsel in distress.
Ever, right? Or, be it Sandkyak, be it Bala, I'm very unconventional as a person. My choices are very unconventional. So I don't operate from a place of pressure. I'm not trying to do these different narratives or these different stories because I have to prove a point.
But when you get a script, do you read extra carefully to see that this could be misconstrued as something that's propagating themes that you don't believe in?
Most of the time, but it's human. You do at times miss out on things like, for example, what happened with Pati Patni aur wo, that controversy it became really big, and rightly so. And I really appreciate it. It was the rape dialogue, and it was incorrect. But it was corrected by my producers. That dialogue was removed out of the film. And I'm glad that they did that. You do make mistakes. I'm not proper. I don't. Yes, I have responsibility, but I have the same amount of responsibility that I had before I became an actor. Because I truly want to be a responsible global citizen. I really want to service mankind in my way.
Can I mention the T word?
Which is?
Takht. It's like the word that I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it or not. It's the most anticipated Hindi film, I think, of 2021. It's a really big deal. This is Karan Johar's big Mughal historical epic about Aurangzeb and his battle with his brother Dara Shikoh and their wives and their sister. And it sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It's big, it's huge, it's a very big opportunity for all of us, everybody that's associated with the film. I'm extremely excited to be directed by Karan Johar. He was on my bucket list.
Right.
And I can't wait. And every cast member is just so special. They are so talented, and it's gonna be,
And I don't know if you share scenes with Garina, but is the fangirl in you exploding a little bit?
I can't wait. I love her. I love Kareena Kapoor. And I can't wait to share screen space with her. She's such a phenomenal actor.
What's the one thing that you wish other people around you would change so that you could be the best version of yourself? What needs to change in order for you to reach your fullest potential?
Wow. I don't know where to start. I literally don't know where to start. There's a general mindset shift that needs to happen, right? Everything that I'm trying to fight for, every message that I'm trying to give out with every film that I do is exactly the change that I feel needs to happen. Be it sexism, be it acceptance, be it inclusivity. And it's so layered. It's on so many levels. And the more you get into it, the more you realize that the journey is very difficult. But you just have to start.
Yeah.
And somewhere things would keep happening. And I keep saying this again and again, that my cinema is my service to humankind.
Well, I hope you continue, as you said, serving humanity. Bhumi Pednekar, it has been an absolute pleasure. Are you going to finish your paneer tikka?
Right after we are done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to keep up to date. For more great audio and video from the BBC, listen on Sounds, watch on iPlayer.